Time now for the Coors Light Louisville Women's Basketball Postgame Show. Right here on ESPN Louisville. Cards basketball is also presented by U of L Health, making the impossible possible. That's the power of you. Kelly Jobs, the employment solution expert. KellyJobs.com. Bear Nose Pizza. Yeah, it's that good. Cox's Spirit Shop and Evergreen Liquors. Louisville's neighborhood liquor store. UPS Jobs. Apply today at UPSKY.com. And Kroger. Fresh for everyone. Now, here are your hosts, Dave Scull and Chrissy Banta.
Welcome into the University of Louisville Women's Basketball Postgame Show. I'm your host, Dave Scull, along with my good friend, Chrissy Banta. Before we go any further, I want to let you all know this is our first ESPN Louisville Plus visual simulcast. I don't know how we're going to put that, but it's basically we have a video feed of this as well on our YouTube channel. If you want to check that out, our good buddy Justin Soforo is putting that together. You guys know he's been doing a lot of good work in the visual department and kind of expanding our repertoire here. But Chrissy, tough game. Tough game. So
I don't feel great.
I don't feel great
Before you
asked
how I feel, I don't feel great.
We already got that out of the way.
Right.
I might have been yelling some. I'm glad the video feed wasn't up during the game.
Yeah.
There was some NSFW
We would've caught some
tossed
fines.
around. Yeah. The FCC wouldn't have been very happy with me. 8159-39 is the phone line. 3831-939 is the UPS Jobs text line. So let's get it out of the way. Louisville loses a tough one, 79-68 on the road to Courtney Banghart and the UNC Tar Heels. Look, they're always tough at the league. They're ranked. Top 15 type team. Deja Kelly, good squad. They are, but so are we. And we certainly did not play consistent enough today. And we'll talk a little bit about the officiating. We know you all understand what we do with officiating. We don't harp on it. It has less to do with who they call the fouls against. It was just the tenor and the tempo of the game I thought made it pretty hard for our style of play. But we just didn't make the plays we had to make. And we didn't turn the ball over a ton, but if you listen to Jeff Walls' post-game comments with Nick Curran, we made them at the worst time. Just the absolute worst time. Chris, did it feel like every turnover we had was followed by a made three by UNC?
Yeah, and I think that's part of what made it feel like we had twice as many turnovers, as they did. I think we've had 11 was the final.
We had 15 assists, 11 turnovers. The ratio wasn't bad, but it just felt like they were all impactful. And then the block shots almost equate a turnover sometimes.
Yeah, their ability to get points off of Louisville turnovers today made it feel like those 11 turnovers, which is below the number Jeff Walls is typically comfortable with, made it feel like those 11 were closer to 22 or 24, which we've harped on it several times before. You can't have a high number of turnovers in ACC play because teams like North Carolina are going to figure out very quickly how to capitalize off those turnovers. And today was a very good example of that.
Like, it's kill or be killed in the ACC right now, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, with the top
any
team.
team can lose on any given night. And that's what makes the ACC so fun. And that's why I will always tell people, and honestly, the ACC is probably better this year than it's been in a while.
I mean, I think
it's great this year.
It's close. It's close for me because I think NC State's stronger than we thought going into this year. Like, we thought they weren't going anywhere.
Yeah.
We know they were a top 15 type team, but they're a top 10 team. Virginia Tech can get up and get you any night. They're a top 15 type team. Duke, who we dispatched not with ease, but we pretty convincingly last week, ended up beating Virginia Tech and Liz Kitley by double digits. I know Georgia Moore isn't playing right now, but still. Like, this is the top 16. When you talk about Louisville, Notre Dame, we've got a big one coming up in a few weeks. NC State, North Carolina, Duke, Virginia Tech, Miami, I mean, you're talking about an incredibly deep league where the first 7 or the top 7 or 8 teams can all beat you on any given night. And then the next 3 or 4 are all fighting for tournament bids too. So none of that is an excuse. It's just a matter of what the landscape is, because it felt like, the way I put it was, like, yes, the style of officiating was hard to watch, and it's really hard on a pressure defense like ours.
It's hard to, you're a lot nicer than me. The officiating was trash.
It was
today.
garbage. I was yelling a lot. There was we had 15 foul calls in the third quarter alone. Like, just the constant whistles. Which is outrageous. Like, we have Nina Ricards, who didn't have a great game tonight, but she got called on two touch fouls on one possession, one trip down the court. What can she do? Like, it was honestly, she was looking around like, what can we do? And I heard Jeff in the postgame say, I wanted us to be more aggressive and check it a little bit more on the way down the court and try to get a cheap turnover here and there. And I think it just got in the guards' heads how quick the whistle was. And at some point you can't. Like, you have Jeff saying that, and you have the announcer saying, well, they've got to adjust because any contact is a foul. It's like, yeah, sometimes. Like, it was so inconsistent. Kiki hit the floor like 18 times in the first quarter, and she didn't draw a foul.
Yeah, nothing.
And then in the third quarter we get 15 foul calls in short order, and it's just like, it's incredibly hard.
And was it Sydney Taylor laid on the floor for 2 minutes of gameplay, it felt like, and nothing?
Yeah, and then you brush against them on the other side.
But meanwhile, there was a whistle on the other end.
And this is not to, like, we didn't lose because of officiating.
No.
This is not what we're saying. It's just,
we lost because of inconsistencies through the game.
Exactly. I know how hard it can be to watch that type of officiating, though. Like, it cheapens the product, and it makes it hard to watch, and it makes it hard for them to play defense. But you got to get through it, and you have to make the plays. At the end of the day, our shot selection was poor in the second half for the most part. We didn't, as Jeff put it in the interview with Nick Curran, our guards weren't rebounding enough. Olivia and Nyla were working hard on the boards. They always do, but normally our bigger guards and wings can get in there and get boards. And today, it just seemed like if that rebound careened like anywhere outside the paint, if it was a long rebound, it was going to UNC.
Yeah, it was. And
second half especially.
And then once you got into the second half, when you really needed to see a big like Olivia step up with really strong defensive efforts, she couldn't because she was in foul trouble. Yeah, you could see her. The drop off to Aleph in the first half was tough. Just because, Aleph, look, she's doing some good things, and I thought she was coming along. On defense. She was coming along in the last couple of games, but she struggled a little bit today, in my opinion. And I think she was a little slow getting back on defense. And the offensive drop off from Olivia to Aleph today was just too stark to where Jeff had to play her through her foul trouble. Yeah. And unfortunately, when Olivia had 3 fouls in the third quarter, you could see her. She just couldn't be as aggressive on defense. She couldn't. They got a couple of cheapies in the paint that normally Olivia is extremely hard. She's one of the best post defenders in the country, and they're blown right by her a few times because she couldn't be physical in the second half defensively. And you could tell she was visibly frustrated. By being held back in a sense from being able to play her normal physical game. And she had some really good mid-range looks today. A couple of really good shots that went in, but there were also a few that were questionable. Yeah. 8150-939 is the phone number. 3831-939 is UPS Shops text line. James, how long is Jeff's postgame?
It's about 5 minutes.
I tell you what, let's go ahead and play that while we're waiting on phone calls and kind of get a little bit more of a deeper.
Okay, we do have Lawrence.
Oh, we have Lawrence? I'm sorry, I didn't see him on the board. My bad. Let's go ahead and bring Lawrence in, get his thoughts, and then we'll kick it to Jeff. Lawrence, how you doing? Welcome to the U of O Women's Postgame Show.
If you think I'm going to get North Carolina any type of credit today, you dead wrong on that.
I knew when I saw your response to my tweet, I knew that you had something for him.
We knew you were waiting on hold.
Yeah, I was wondering.
I
was like, where is he? I was worried about you.
So let me get this straight. We can't play defense today because we got a whistle every single time you try to play defense. I swear, that same referee, every time Curry's checking somebody, called the same foul on her every single time. I have watched every single game, and that same referee keeps calling that same foul on Curry. It seems like to me today is, if Louisville even tried to rebound, or with a wooden blown, Louisville probably play a little bit of defense with a blown. And the reason they got out-rebounded today, because our main rebounder was on the bench, and the guard was afraid if they tried to get a rebound, they may get a whistle called on them. Now, missing free throws, that's not a good thing, because normally they're better on foul shooting teams. And somebody better tell Sidney Curry, I understand you want to shoot the 3-point shot, but your mid-range and your drive to your basket is one of the best on the team. So, you are shooting 28% from the tree. Drive to the hole, get to the rim. The reason why Carey is shooting 39% because he set her feet and get ready to shoot. You kind of rush your 3-point shot. And I'm sorry Olivia had to go through that today because she did not deserve that. Olivia is a better player than that. She did not deserve what she had to go through today. And I guess like every point guard we'll play against now is going to try to drive through the hole and draw fouls. That's the main thing that's been happening the last two games for the day. But in that, I still believe in these girls. I still believe they can win the conference. And let's get it on Thursday night.
All right. Appreciate the call, Lawrence. No, I mean, look, UNC is a really good team. They are. But we helped them out today. And I thought that the refereeing was atrocious. But it's not like they were all pro Louisville calls, but I think it really hurt our style of play, and it was so inconsistent and tough to deal with. I thought that the offense really suffered in the second quarter. And Olivia, Sydney, and Kiki all had 2 fouls, and I think that really contributed to the disjointed nature of our offense when 3 of our best scoring threats were all forced to the bench. And at the end of the half, Jada did a great job of carrying us in that spot, hitting a couple of big shots. Excuse me. But anytime you take 3 of the 4 or 5 best players on your team and you bench them, and the team has to figure out how to score without them. I mean, it looked like we struggled a little bit.
Sure. And I think what they struggled with more were the adjustments with the foul calling happening, because I don't want to credit. I don't want it to sound like I'm being fair to the refs, because I'm not.
I don't want to credit anybody.
I don't want to credit anybody.
Anything.
But
Nobody gets credit.
It was 23 and 24 on foul calls for each team, respectively. So it's not like it was one-sided on the number of calls. It was more for me when they came and how Louisville reacted to those calls as far as adjustment. Yeah. And they just didn't do that very well today. And that's something that you absolutely have to clean up, because we know the officiating's not going to improve. We know that. We're not new here. It's never going to. It's not going to get better, guys. It's not going to improve. It is what it is. Okay. What can improve is Louisville's ability to react to those calls in a better way and make the necessary adjustments when you do have 2 or 3 players in serious foul trouble, down the stretch, where you have an opportunity to get back into the game. It's not getting better.
No, 8150-939 is the phone number. 3831-939 is the UPS Jobs text line. I want to get into that free throw shooting after we play Jeff Wall's comments real quick. James, let's go ahead and hit that.
Jeff Walls joins us now, and it just seemed like every time you guys were able to get some momentum,
Mike's off.
a shot or do something to take it back, and that's kind of how the game went.
No, you've got to, first off, give them a ton of credit.
Mike's off.
Time shots when we would make a run, but we definitely were not at our best today. I mean, there were moments. I just got out of the locker room talking with the team. I thought for 26 minutes, I thought we competed. I mean, we're right here. Carolina's a really good team. And then we just got careless. I mean, we turned the basketball over. Now, we only had 11 turnovers, but we had crucial ones. You know, like when they get a 4-point lead and all of a sudden we just throw it right to them. Now it's a 6-point lead. Things like that we did not do a very good job of. And we're going to be able to go back and watch some film and reevaluate, because we've got, I mean, we're a really good basketball team. I think my concern, and I've told them, and it's not anything new. It's not like I haven't told them. Our concern is our aggressiveness, like urgency. We just let people throw a pass and catch it, and that's like,
Okay. Okay. I had it loaded, but I didn't know if it was up. Okay.
and unfortunately, we didn't have that today. Even at the end of the game, like, I didn't want to foul. I mean, it's 2.5 minutes. It's a 6-point game.
Right.
Like, let them throw up a desperation shot as the clock's running out. And give them credit. They made 2 of them. But for us, like, you need a stop. One stop, you score. It's a 2-possession game then. You know, you get it to 4, all of a sudden, all these shots become a little bit more difficult. And we just couldn't get it there. But as they're bringing the ball off the floor, we just back off of them. I'm like, guys, I'm not saying foul, but jab, make them work. So, I mean, obviously not the result that we wanted at all. And we've just got to we've got to get back to work. I thought Nyland O played extremely well. They battled. Our guards did not do a very good job of rebounding the ball. Our posts were in there working their tail off to keep their bigs off the glass, and then their guards would come in and clean it up because our guards were were not engaged. And then, you know, they score a couple run-out layups in the first half because our guards aren't getting back. So then our post has to go over, and then it turns into a layup. You know, and I promise you, man, we told them on film, Donarski's their best shooter. You got to know where she's their best shooter. We can't let her get easy looks. Well, we obviously tried opposite day today, and it wasn't a very good start for us when you give somebody that kind of a jump start, and then the rest of the team gets a little jolt as well. So we've got to get back to work. We'll fly home here shortly, give tomorrow off, get back in the gym on Tuesday and Wednesday, prepare for a Boston College team that I've watched on film. They play extremely hard. We have to make sure we are ready for that basketball game because there's no easy ones. Like, I'm just telling you, there's no easy ones. And if we don't figure it out, which I do like this team. I think we have a chance to be really good. But if we don't figure it out quickly, then all of a sudden, you know, 1 can turn to 2, can turn to 3. Because everybody in this league's good.
Yeah, it's wild night in and night out. You know, at UConn earlier this year, great crowd, and things kind of got away in the second half. Great crowd in here, probably next to that game, the 2 best environments that we've seen for road games this year. And this time it didn't right there the entire time. Was that maybe a little bit of sign of some growth?
Oh, yeah, that's fine. I mean, we missed 5 free throws in the last minute of the game. I mean, you can't. You know, so, and that's something that you aren't going to expect. I mean, for Nyland O to both go 2 for 6 from the free throw line, they're both shooting a high 70s, mid 70s. I mean, that's just, you can't game plan for that. You can't game plan for that. And then Sid goes 1 for 3. You know, those are things we got to clean up. And we have been shooting the ball extremely well from the free throw line. But unfortunately, it just did not go in today.
And obviously they had 11 block shots, and I know those aren't turnovers, but they kind of can be.
All right, 60 seconds.
Because they get it and go off that, and they were able to do that several times.
No, they were, and we turned and shoot right into them, which is something we've been talking about in practice to try to make sure we get better. But unfortunately, we just didn't do a great job today. But the one thing I love about this group, we're going to get back in the gym. We're going to keep working, keep competing.
And you talked about it Thursday night. Start of 3 straight at home, so a chance for everyone to get out. You mentioned it. Never an easy night in this league. So hopefully folks can get out.
The great thing about it is, like I told them in the locker room, you've got Boston College, Pitt, Syracuse, and it's an opportunity for us. You obviously got to take care of Boston College. Then you got Pitt. Then Syracuse comes in, who's tops in the league as well. But you've got a chance to go through the first 9 at 8-1. It's sitting in front of you. Now you've got to be willing to step up to the challenge.
Looking forward to that. Appreciate the time as always. We'll see you Thursday night.
I sure appreciate it. Thank you.
Jeff Walls.
All right, U of L head coach Jeff Walls. You can hear it in his voice. I mean, I think it was actually telling that he didn't, and he does not dwell on officiating usually in post-game interviews, but he didn't mention it once because it's counterproductive at this point. And I think that you send a certain message if you excuse it. You know what I mean? Because we made too many mistakes. Factor the officiating completely out. We made just far too many mistakes. And while we're frustrated, we can say what we want about the style of play and how it was affected by that. We missed 11 free throws. We missed 5 in the last minute, as Coach Walls just said. We let them shoot a couple of wide open shots in the last minute. Every time that we cut it down to 5 or 6, they had an answer. It was a frustrating end of the game. It was a frustrating second half after they battled for quite a bit. Fought through foul trouble. We out-rebounded them in the first half barely, but more importantly, we had 7 offensive rebounds in the first half, which I feel like really kept us in the game. We didn't do that in the second half. Not the same way. And he talked about those transition buckets. We were too slow to get back in transition. It was a tough game today.
It was tough, and I think you're right. And I think Coach Walls is a seasoned enough coach to know that complaining about the officiating will only get you so far. But
you do it between the whistles.
Yeah.
And then every once in a while, you might let one fly at the post-game press conference.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Every once in a while, you might let one fly.
But he has, as of late, taken to getting technicals instead of fines. So that's where we are with Jeff Walls, and he knows the team has some mistakes to clean up, and he's going to get them in the gym and do his best to fix those mistakes and try to move on from this one as best as they can. On to the next one.
Yeah, on to the next. 8150-939 is the phone number. 3831-939 is the UPS Jobs text line. Get in here and let us know how you feel about this game today. I mean, he talked about it. It's a grind in the ACC. It's only going to get harder, and somehow that thermostat went up to 75.
I didn't touch it. I swear I didn't touch it.
I don't believe you.
There is video evidence.
I know
that I didn't touch. Now, Justin.
We have to lock it in every once in a while.
I don't know.
We have to lock it in every once in a while.
It is very telling, though, that you're over there in a T-shirt, and I'm over here in a hoodie, a jacket, a boggin.
Yeah.
It is back up to 75, though.
So we were 2 for 7 at one point from the free throw line. Olivia Cochran and Nyla Harris are both very good shooters for bigs. We're one of the best free throw shooting teams in the ACC. I think they're the best. I think we were number 1 in the ACC coming into this game, and UNC shot closer to 60% for the season, between 60 and 65. They went 17 of 23 from the line. That's a tough deficit to overcome, and that's mostly self-inflicted.
Mm-hmm.
That's mostly self-inflicted. We missed 11 free throws today. I mean, I thought that in the second half, after the foul trouble, people got a little, like I said earlier, a little bit less aggressive on the defensive end. And on the offensive end, when Olivia wasn't in the game, and even sometimes when she was, I thought that we did a lot of passing around the perimeter, and we weren't really trying to paint nearly as much in the third and fourth quarter.
Yeah, 24 points in the paint total for a Louisville team. Any Louisville team is low, extremely low. So you did see a lot more passing around the perimeter today, and it is unusual for them to not drive to the basket so often. So I don't know why.
UNC has a couple of really good shot blockers.
They do, but I feel like that's still something Louisville teams are typically able to handle well.
Yeah, they only had one block shot in the second half. They had 6 in the first, 7 on the game. You like that math really quickly?
Good job.
6 plus 1. Like they have some solid shot blockers. I mean, they have a couple of really good bigs. Gakdang is one of the better pure centers in the league. Between her and Key in the first half, they had several blocks, and then Oostby is she's a big guard, and she's somebody who
responsible for 7 of their 11.
What's that?
Blocks today.
Who was?
Oostby.
There you go.
Oostby.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah.
Was it 11 total blocks?
They had 11 total blocks.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. I thought it was more than what I was reading.
And she had 7 of them.
Yeah. So there you go. And she had a triple-double last month. So when I talk about Deja Kelly...
You don't even have to elaborate on that.
And Alyssa Oostby being 2 of the best players in the ACC, that's what I'm talking about. 8150-939, 3831-939 is UPS Jobs text line. Oostby is very good defensively. She's very good at everything. She has an extremely good floor game. She does sometimes remind me a little bit of Emily Inkster, the way she plays. She's not as good as Emily Inkster in my opinion, but she does remind me some size.
How your clarification there came with
everybody on the video.
Yeah, just so
she's
everybody's
not
clear.
her. I don't think she's quite as tenacious. She's quite as athletic, but her ability to do literally everything.
Yeah,
and she can be an explosive scorer at times, but doesn't have to be to affect the game the way she does. Is why I compare the two.
But she is not Emily Inkster, just so
everybody knows.
Everybody knows.
Put the hands up like that.
Don't.
Let me run down some stats real quick while we wait for people to call. I don't know. I guess people aren't ready to. Are they burned by this? Usually we get 5 or 6 calls minimum on the post-game show, and today we've got one from our guy Lawrence.
I think there's a lot going on today.
Yeah.
People are game hopping today.
They're game hopping. They're watching the NFL.
Yeah.
That's no excuse. You want to run down the stats real quick?
Sid Taylor, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 4 personal fouls, 1 steal, 1 assist. Nyla, she was able to tally 16 points today with 3 rebounds and 2 assists. She also had 3 steals. She did pretty well on the defensive and offensive end this afternoon. It's still afternoon. Kiki, 8 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists. Nina Ricards had a couple of points. Olivia Cochran had 14 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Aleph had 2 points, 1 rebound. We only saw her for about 11 minutes today. Marissa Russell, who we saw for 9 minutes, had a couple of rebounds and an assist. Lexia Mobley, she only played 2 minutes today.
Into the half.
Yeah. We did not see her record anything through those 2 minutes. Lily Love had 4 points, 5 rebounds. And Jada Curry had 14 points, went 6 for 6 from the free throw line, 3 rebounds and 2 assists.
There you go. Who's your player of the game?
Nyla.
Yeah.
I think Nyla had a really great performance today.
Yeah, I think we'll put it on Nyla.
Pretty well balanced today.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
I think the rest of the country is starting to realize how good her gameplay is, how well balanced her gameplay is.
Mike line 1.
Yeah. No, Nyla's been extremely consistent this year. I mean, I talk about her and Olivia's post defense a lot. They're very good defenders, but they're also not just good traditional post defenders. They have very active hands and produce a lot of turnovers. Today it was an effort. They had to battle a lot today, but her and Olivia worked really hard underneath and tried to maintain position the whole time. We need to get. I thought Aleph was making strides. I think she struggled a little bit today. I'm interested to see if Alexia and Henny get worked into this lineup more down the line.
I would have liked to have seen Henny.
That's
today.
what I said earlier.
You did say that, and I think there were moments where her play would have been beneficial today.
The staff was really excited about her in the offseason.
Yeah.
And she looked good in Canada this offseason. And I know she's working through an injury, but we've seen her in spots the last couple of games, and I'm hoping that her minutes start to increase at some point, just because she's a very skilled big, and I feel like she could help us down the stretch. Mike, welcome into the U of L Women's Postgame Show. How you doing, man?
I'm great, Biscuit. How are you, bud?
I'm good.
Good. I've met both of you and Christy at different times. I'm on Twitter with you guys. But anyway, the reason I called, frustrating day to say the least.
Yeah. Very
passionate about the women. I see things that just frustrate the heck out of me. I commented to you during the game about Ellis as far as you got to take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
And basically a lot of potential there. She just seems to always rush things. She can't. Her hands just seem to be bad right now, without a doubt. But a very disappointing loss. I felt that it was a little bit of home cooking. We can blame refs all we want, but we certainly shot ourselves in the foot in this game. But there was so many fouls that I just couldn't even keep track of it. It was ridiculous. But what's your all's thoughts? I just tuned in, so what's your all's thoughts on how it was officiated?
Mike, I appreciate the call, man, and we always appreciate you interacting with us during the game. I know your Twitter account, and please keep it up, man.
I actually just met him last game.
There you go.
Okay.
Awesome. Well, look, I thought it was. We addressed it a little bit earlier. I know you just tuned in. I'd be happy to revisit it. I thought it was ridiculous. The amount of whistles was just absurd. You know, and this is not. Again, we're not blaming the officiating for the loss. We did plenty to lose this game. We didn't deserve to win this game the way we played in the second half. That's just the fact. But it's really hard to watch a game where you get 15 fouls called in the quarter. You know, you've got Nina Ricards who can't breathe on the guard without getting a foul. She got 4 fouls, I think, in the third quarter. That's wild. She was already struggling a little bit this game. And then to have that happen, it takes you out of it. But you do have to adjust to the way they're calling the game. But when it's inconsistent like that, Kiki spent half the first half on the floor getting knocked over and with very few foul calls. And then the second half, it just seems like the whistles just nonstop.
There were a couple of plays where you even noticed that they started blowing the whistle before the foul even occurred. Which the anticipatory calls have been a problem in women's basketball. It's a problem in men's basketball too, but worse in women's basketball for years. Once you take especially certain players, they take steps towards the basket. And they're like, well, they're gonna commit a foul. It's a guard on a big. They're gonna commit a foul. So we're just gonna blow the whistle. We're out of position. We can't see the contact. There wasn't any contact. They're blowing it anyway. So it's tough to watch sometimes. It is. And when Mike talking about Ayla, you take the good with the bad. And I think to this point she has been a net positive, and she is coming around. And I thought she was really, really picking it up the last couple of games. She had a tough one today, I think, at times, and the fall off between Olivia and her on the offensive end was just really noticeable today. I think some of that, you're talking about her hands and maybe she's hurrying things and nervousness, is her still adjusting to the American game. She's from Turkey. The international game is different. It's a different style. It's a different level of athleticism. And I just, ACC is top-notch college basketball, and obviously she's played international ball. That's high level. It's as high as it gets. But it's a different style of play here, and she's still adjusting to the American game, and I'm hoping that she shows fully what kind of player she can be by the end of the year, because you could tell the skill's there, and she is a shooter. She's only made 1 3 so far this year, but she has the ability. She made a 2 with her foot on the arc today, but she's got the ability to shoot, and once she comes around and is shooting in rhythm and gets more comfortable in the flow of the game, I think that you'll see her look more at ease at home in these big games. Blossom, if you will.
What's that?
She'll blossom.
She'll blossom.
She'll
yes.
blossom. Hey, related but unrelated. Shout out to my girl Kiana Smith, who is getting signed by Connecticut.
Yeah.
She's been playing overseas.
That's awesome.
You talking about international ball kind of jogged my memory on that.
Oh, we'll always talk about Kiana on this show. We love Kiana.
Yes, we do.
I heard that somebody in my presence is the president of the Kiana.
That would be me.
Club.
Yep. That was my, I think that was my first fan club presidency officially. I think that's what started the movement was Kiana. Now
Mine's
here we
still on
are.
the team.
Huh?
I think mine's still on the team.
Yeah. Here we are a few
Enrique,
years
actually.
later with several fan club presidents out there.
That's right.
Roaming the Twitter streets. I think Nyla's got one. Kiki's got one. So shout out to everybody that took part in that movement.
That's good.
Somebody tried to come in and claim Olivia, and we had to stop that one.
No. She's already got a president.
James,
Sorry.
who do you have? Who are you fan club president of?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't put my man on the spot like that.
I would have been Olivia, but
You can't have. You can't have Olivia.
You could be on the board. Is that cool?
definitely cool. Definitely.
Texas says,
Secretary.
love the show. Need more of it. The women are doing just fine. Jeff will iron out the kinks and be ready to roll in March. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you so much for the kind words. Look, I think you can tell by our tone, like this was a frustrating game, and it's frustrating while I watch it. This is why we don't turn on the video feed until the end of the game. Every once in a while, I'm pretty good about staying calm. Usually,
It would have been bad today.
Usually,
It would have
I'm
been
pretty
bad
good
today.
about staying calm, but today was one of those games where I was just like, there was a lot of frustrating factors. But you all know us; we're pretty even keeled about this. Jeff gives us a lot of reasons. Jeff Walls and his players and his staff have given us a lot of reasons through the years not to freak out about losses at any point during the season, especially to a top 25, extremely talented North Carolina team. We will pick apart the loss. We will talk about the things we need to work on. They're not infallible. You know, there's a ton of stuff that they need to work on. We shot ourselves in the foot over and over again today. We had untimely turnovers. We left the three-point line unguarded at times. It was frustrating to watch. I thought that we had poor shot selection in the second and third quarters. Aleph did some kind of baseline turnaround fadeaway jumper that got blocked into oblivion that I just wasn't sure what she was thinking at that point. And that was kind of the cherry on top of that stretch. But like there's problems and there's issues, but this team has flashed incredible potential. And we have been given so many examples of Jeff Walls and his staff figuring out the sauce before March, that we don't lose our mind over one ACC loss, and we'll probably have another one or two, or maybe even three.
I think that it's not out of the question to expect another loss or two or three. The ACC, like we were saying earlier, is just incredibly talented this year, and even the unranked teams in the ACC, we're sitting at six ranked teams right now. But even the unranked teams could beat any of those ranked teams on any given day. That's how good this league is this year. And I think expecting any of the ACC teams to only lose one or two games through all of ACC play, it's unrealistic.
No, it's not going to be that way.
It's not going to happen.
It's not going to be that way.
It's going to be a fight for first place come the end of the regular season.
I mean, NC
It always
State
is.
lost to Vautech a couple weeks ago. Vautech got dragged by Duke, a team we've already beaten. I mean, I think the winner in the ACC is probably going to have two or three league losses. Two is everybody's got at least one at this point, and we're only a third of the way through the slate, as far as league games go. So you can't just to run down the ranked teams in the league right now. This week, it was NC State at 4, Louisville at 13, Virginia Tech at 14, Florida State at 15, which I didn't even mention earlier. Notre Dame at 19, North Carolina at 23.
Unreal.
That's 6 ranked teams, and that doesn't include Syracuse or Duke or Miami. All teams that are extremely capable of beating anybody in this league on any given day, like you said. So that's what we're dealing with the ACC, and I feel like we're going to incur a couple more losses this year. It's just a matter of figuring out, learning from each one of those losses, and preparing ourselves for a deep March run.
Yeah, that's pretty much what it comes down to this time of year, and I don't see any reason to panic yet. and I'm not going to. We never do this time of year. Like you said, Jeff and his staff always
We never panic ever.
figure out the sauce.
I don't feel like
No,
we never
we don't.
panic.
We never
Like, last
panic.
year gave us as many reasons to panic as we've ever had. Okay? It did. We took a long time to figure this out last year.
A long time.
And, once Mikasa became the primary ball handler, I think it unlocked a lot of things with this team. But even then, we had a lot of questions going into the tournament, and we made the Elite Eight.
Yep.
This year, I have less questions about this team. It's just a matter of getting ourselves more consistent. Coming out and playing with the same intensity every game. Understanding what your identity is. We are an aggressive defensive basketball team. There's no laying weight. Just like Jeff talked about, he gets frustrated when he sees us kind of lay off on defense until a pass is made. It's like, why don't you disrupt the pass? That's where we're the best. We have the active hands. That's why Olivia and Nyla are so good in the post, because they are not passive post defenders who are just bodying you up and trying to prevent you from putting the ball in the hole. They are actually bodying you up and going after you with those great ball skills they have and swatting at the ball and trying to work while they're not used to that from post defenders. A lot of times post defenders they're defending you up here. Olivia and Nyla poke that ball out if you get passive. Like, that's what I love about our team. Those half court traps, the full court press that we can get into against some teams. We didn't do it as much today. That's the type of aggressive defense that I love with Jeff Wall's teams. And I think that it's a mindset, and I feel like we were rounding right into that, and we balked at it a little bit today at times, and I think it's partially because of a little bit of hesitance with the way they were calling the game. I think that might have contributed to some of that passive behavior on defense.
Yeah, and I think those are the kinks that'll be worked out. They're coming up on a 3-game home slate: Boston College, Pitt, and Syracuse, all at home before heading out to NC State. So that's a really good opportunity for this team to kind of refocus, re-energize, use that home court advantage, which we know is one of the best in the country for women's basketball, and then take the improvements with you on the road to NC State. It's going to be tough in Raleigh. And then we come home to Notre Dame.
If I'm reading this right, Boston College is playing a game against Army on Wednesday.
And they turn around and play in Louisville
at
Thursday?
Army and then come to Louisville on Thursday. That's extremely weird.
That is zero turnaround.
I've never seen anything like that in the middle of a conference schedule where you have a road game smack dab in the middle of the week, the day before going to Louisville. That's what it says on Google. Are you seeing that?
Hold on. I'm going to pull up their official
website
schedule, because that seems...
That's wild. Like, and sometimes Google search gets it wrong.
Yeah, but let's pull it up. Okay, let's see here.
Playing in West Point and then coming down to Louisville overnight is wild.
Whoops. Click on that. What is wrong with their website?
I need confirmation on this.
I'm going to get it for you.
Because this is what Google is telling me.
Yeah.
I don't believe this for a second. 8150-939 if you want to get a phone call in here in the next few minutes, because we're probably gonna wrap it up pretty soon. 3831-939 if you want to give us a text on the UPS Jobs text line. You have a couple of regulars we didn't hear from today that I was expecting to hear from. I appreciate Lawrence and Mike calling, but yeah. You got that official?
Today, January. Okay, that's not accurate.
All right. That didn't make a lick of sense to
No,
me.
it didn't. They were at Georgia Tech today, took a 54-69 loss. Yeah, it pulled up on my Google too. That's weird.
All right. Well, that makes a lot more sense, because
the official Boston College website had them at Georgia Tech today and then at Louisville, and then they have NC State at home right after they're at Louisville.
Maybe Army's expecting them in Boston College. We didn't schedule that, man.
Boston College is looking at taking 3 ACC losses in a row.
Yeah, they're a middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Bottom half of the league team, but doesn't mean they're not capable of coming in here and wreaking havoc. It's kind of nice that I feel like the next 3 games build towards that NC State game where we're going back home. We get Boston College, then we get Pittsburgh, and then Syracuse, which is they're 6-1 in conference. They're 16-2 overall, and they're not one of the ranked teams.
Wild,
just in
isn't it?
case you were wondering. We get those two and then get to play Syracuse before we go out on the road and face NC State. So those Syracuse and NC State games back-to-back are going to be extremely impactful to the top of the ACC standings. That's three. Louisville, Syracuse, and NC State are three of the one-loss teams in the ACC right now.
These last couple of January games for Louisville are going to be so crucial to the performance of this team the rest of the season, because that February slate, it's going to get nasty quick.
Yeah.
It's going to get nasty really quick.
Oh, I'm sorry, I forgot NC State has 2 conference losses. That's my bad. But yeah, Syracuse, it's going to ramp up something serious, and we'll have your post-game action here on 93.9 with our guy James Black. Going to produce our post-game shows, and we're going to hope to do more of these video feeds. Justin Soforo has done a great job building that as another part of our offerings, our media offerings
he's done
here.
a wonderful job with that
At ESPN Louisville and 93.9, and we hope to do more of that, and maybe a watch along sometime soon for one of these road games. So yeah, look forward to all that stuff. Chrissy, do you have any parting thoughts?
Go Bills. You've been waiting on it, haven't you?
I've been waiting. She's over there on a U of L post-game show wearing Bills stuff head to toe. I didn't come in here wearing Jet stuff, and no, it's not because they're not in the playoffs. Shut up,
They're
Chrissy.
not, though. You're right.
All right, we appreciate y'all listening. Good guys lose 79-68, unfortunately, to the North Carolina Tar Heels. I'm Dave Scull. That's Chrissy Banta. That's our guy, James Black, behind the ones and twos. Thank you to Justin Soforo once again for doing the ESPN Plus YouTube broadcast. This has been your University of Louisville women's basketball post-game show. Until next time, go Cards.
Official broadcast partner of the University of Louisville, WLCL Sellersburg is 93.9 The Ville.